Hello, welcome back. I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen. How are you doing today? I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I was playing in my closet. I found this. Haven't seen it for a while because I'm not in my closet very often. Not in summer. Usually it's just, capris and t-shirts and whatever. But anyway, I have a question for you. My hair's so soft. So I asked my kids this question, and it's really interesting to see what they say. Actually, I was really shocked at what they said. So they're learning. I'm teaching them something. But if you were given $1 million, what would you do with it? And what would you do with your life afterwards? So I asked my kids this question, and I got the typical response I was expecting from my girls. Okay. They would pay off their debt. Whatever that is. I think they're both they're really responsible money handlers. Buy a house. Not a big house, a small house. Just a house, a nice sized house, and stash the rest. And I was like, yep, I kind of expected that, but great. And would you quit working? No. They both said they wouldn't quit their jobs. My son, I was expecting, just blow the rodeo world open. But he was kind of the same, buy a small house, and he'd set aside so much money for rodeo fees and stash the rest. No, he would not quit his job. Pretty interesting. The two younger ones, one's in high school, one's in middle school. The high schooler should be getting his license soon. And, of course, a vehicle, because they have to pay for their vehicle and their gas themselves. We pay for the insurance, but they have to pay for the car or whatever they buy and the gas. So that was his thing. He would probably buy a vehicle and, allot himself so much spending money and then stash the rest. And no, he plans on getting it. He would still plan on getting a job when he gets his vehicle and can drive. My youngest surprised me. I really thought he would just go shopping. He would blow the whole thing, right? And it doesn't shock me when people do this. It really doesn't. But he said he would give himself some money to spend. He'd blow some of it just for fun, and he would stash the rest, and when he's old enough, he would still get a job. Impressive from a 12-year-old. They definitely take after me in the money spectrum. But yeah, I was just shocked. I was like, I really thought he was gonna say blow it. I really did. Yeah. Okay, so anyway. Oh, this is getting long. Sorry. So long. I will cut to the chase. I will talk more in the video like I always do. I will talk more in the video. We are doing liquid soap paste into liquid soap and all the things you can do with liquid soap. Okay, no, we're not doing that. We're just talking about soap paste and making liquid soap and some tips and tricks. Okay, so anyway, 3 things. Dream big, be true to you. You are worth it. Let's go check out this video. Bye-bye. Our lye is potassium hydroxide, and I want you to listen to what it sounds like. Isn't that just cool? It is just, it like growls at you. It's just upset. Okay, so you have to use potassium hydroxide, KOH, to make liquid soap. You cannot use sodium hydroxide. That makes solid bar soap. Doing the lye calculator, check the box on that to make sure you're using KOH to figure out your recipe. Soap calc numbers on the bottom don't really do anything for you except for the fatty acid profile. Okay? Keep your oleic high and your palmitic and stearic kind of low. Okay? Because they lower, the higher they are, they lower the clarity. And some people say possibly separation, but I don't know that. Super fat, keep it 3% or less. Castor, 10 to 30%. Helps condition, adds lather, These are just some tips I'm giving you. Olive makes a thicker soap. More coconut makes a thinner soap. I think it dilutes easier is what the thing is on there. So depending on the oils or depending on what you are going for in your soap, that's what the type of oils you want to use. And I'm going to link the Nerdy Farm Wife, her dandelion liquid soap is really delightful. That was the very first one I started with. And then I just took off from there doing my own thing. But I'm going to link that. Okay. So the higher amount of liquid oils you have in your recipe, the higher percentage for clarity. Now, let's take coconut out of that. Coconut is like its own thing. We're not going to count him as because he's kind of liquid, he's kind of solid. He makes a hard bar in sodium hydroxide, right? But in liquid soap, potassium hydroxide, he can be used from 30 to 80% of the total, okay? So even though a high percentage of liquid oils, we're throwing coconut in there with the liquid oils. The liquid oils will keep it light in color. Keep your hydrogenated oils lower, okay? Sunflower, if you're going to use that, use a high oleic one because it will give you a better shelf life, okay? Better shelf life. So, clarity. Tallow, lard, and palm are high in palmitic acid. Some people say they make a very opaque soap, okay? It'll be a little cloudier, it'll be whatever. If you're making it for home use, who cares, right? Tallow. Okay, I'm not into lard. I'll tell you, I'll be honest. Tallow and palm are very, very beautiful oils. Sometimes you get a little white swirl after you have diluted it. In it, I have read that it's this unsaponifiables in the oil. I have heard that it's sometimes the solids that have dropped out of the solution when they're diluted. Olive oil, soy, canola, there's other oils that can possibly do this. I do have that problem, but I guess I don't care. Unsaponifiables. I would love a list of these in detail. Basically a list that says, this oil has this percentage of unsaponifiables in it. Everybody seems to know that shea is the highest, has the highest unsaponifiable items in it. But those are also the things that make it very moisturizing and beautiful on the skin. And so you kind of need them. Okay, pause here. See, it's still separating. This is 3 minutes. And it's still separating. We're not even to emulsion yet. I have come to the conclusion that if I stick blend for 6 minutes, that it will be white and frothy like that, and it will stay that way. And at 6 minutes, I am at emulsion. I don't take it to thick trace. Some people will tell you take your liquid soap paste to thick trace or medium trace. I just don't find any need, and you don't need to stick blend 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, if you want to do it that way, if you stick blend for 5 minutes and off and on, and you're not at emulsion, if you cook it a little bit, like give it 5 minutes and go back and hit it with a stick blender in hot process, okay, hit it with a stick blender, it will eventually get there. You might have to do that 1 or 2 times, but it saves on your stick blender, let me tell you. But I have found that if I just keep going for 6 minutes, I will have floaty bubbles, and it will be at emulsion, if not trace. So that is what I'm doing. And my batch is smaller, so I did throw Saran wrap over so I wasn't shooting, soap all over. That would be aesthetically stupid. But yeah, so unsaponifiables in oils is a thing. There are some that are like 1%. That's all in shampoo bars. You want less. You want less unsaponifiables because you don't want a bunch of crap in your hair left over from the oil that is just naturally in the oil. Okay. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. If you're going to think you're going to use a botanical or a tea or milk or something like that beer, you do it beforehand. Okay? So just so you know this now, when you're formulating your liquid soap, all the cute little things, the botanicals, the teas, the milk, the whatever, has to go in before the cook. Because if you dilute it with a tea or beer or milk or whatever, you have a higher chance of rancidity. And I don't do that. See, there we go. We are at emulsion. See, it's not breaking up. It's not coming apart. That's how you know. Okay? Looks beautiful. Yep. And you can tell it's already thick. I am probably close to trace, if not at medium trace. I hate the word trace. I understand it, but it's such a weird word. But it's like, why don't we just call it, like thin pancakes and thick pancakes and pudding, and since they have the applesauce stage and mashed potato stage and all those stages. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're going to start the cook here. Just to make sure, like, this is a pretty big pot, okay? This is 15 minutes. Do not leave your hot processed soap ever. Ever, never, 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 never. If you're running to the bathroom, make it quick. Just because that's a pretty dang good volcano for the amount of soap batter I have in there. For sure. Okay, so I talked about my oils. This is a 16-ounce batch of oils. I do the 3-to-1 ratio, 3 times the amount of lye weight for water. It just works slicker than anything. I don't know why. I think the Nerdy Farm Wife does do that too. I'm not sure. Not sure anymore. Like I said, I did her dandelion one and I just took off from there. So this is, again, another cook, another 15 minutes. If you can, wait 30 minutes in between and mix, but I couldn't. It was just having its own dance party in this crock pot. Remember, my crock pot runs high. It's only on warm. I never put it on. It was just on warm, and it's hot enough. But beautiful. Look at that beautiful fluid soap batter. Very, very, very nice. And I mix it this one I had to mix every 15 minutes. And then after an hour, I think I went every 30 minutes. It cooked for I don't even know anymore. 3 hours? 2 hours? 2 hours. A good 2 hours it did cook. Yeah. I was kind of worried. Okay, so this was a new test batch for me. I found one I really, really liked, and then I just tweaked it a little bit just for whatever, you know me. But anyway, so I was getting worried because it was so beautiful and frothy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's never going to hit its stage, right? But it's just like Shmata, you just keep cooking, and it'll get there. That was my belief. So look at the size. That is the gel phase coming through. And it was beautiful. Look at that. So I left it and I shut the crock pot off. Shut it off and oh. Beautiful. Look at my soap paste. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, to the paste. Mine is still a little warm. I usually leave it cool and set overnight, but I needed it out of my crock pot, so you don't have to. You want to store it in a jar. I think if you don't dilute it. So this is just the paste, guys. Okay, this is just the paste. You have to dilute this to make the liquid soap. I think it lasts for a year. I think they say, but I know there's people out there that will tell you they have soap paste, from 5 years ago. Okay, so dilution is a slow process. I've gotten better at it, and like I said, it does depend on the oils you have in there, and all this other jazz. I always weigh my soap paste so I know how much I made. And there is a thing that is not all pure soap. There is water in there. There is a way to figure that out. I will link Classic Bells. Her name is DeeAnna Weed. I will link her post because it's an awesome post for you to read if you're interested in soap making. And that information is hers, and beautiful. It's done very well. Lots of math to figure it out, but that's fine. So dilution, you can use 2 things: vegetable glycerin or water. That's it. Glycerin 10 to 20%, and you don't have to. I'm just gonna dilute it with water just to show you. You don't have to use glycerin at all. Okay, just water if you want to. I do heat it up in the microwave, like, above and beyond. Try not to go over okay, so if your soap paste is 1 ounce, mine was a little more, don't go over that 1 ounce. You want a 50-50 ratio. That's a good way to start. Like I said, it's not accurate, but it's close. Okay, it's close. It's like playing horseshoes. It's close. I dilute it with the water. You just have to, try and break up the chunks off and on. It will take me 12 to 24 hours, depending on what oils I used and how stubborn it is. It's a slow process, Sometimes I even put it on the windowsill in the sun, because the sun will heat the jar and warm it up. And, you cannot rush this. You can rush this process. You could use a blender, but then you will have, lots of frothing, and then you have to spray it with isopropyl alcohol and, all that stuff. So I put the cover on, and I'm going to just leave it sit. And here it is after a couple hours, I think. Yeah. Yep. See, it's looking good. It's just, there's some, it takes a bit, you guys. I mean, it's a slow process. It'll take a little while, but eventually it will dilute into a clear. And mine will not be white, but they will be clear. And it's slowly diluting, and I decided I was going to show you what happens when you take a whisk to it and you try and speed things up. It doesn't go well. So I'm spraying it, but you see all the foam? I mean, you can do this, okay? But yeah, the foam doesn't always want to come out. And your best bet is to just keep chunking it up and leave it set. So this is the next morning. It looks like it has chunks in it, but once I mix it up, they were easily dispersible, and it's, beautiful and clear. Okay, color and fragrance. So what you want to do is you want to put 1/4 of your batch that you're fragrancing and put it in one container, and the rest of them out, put in another container, and warm them up slightly in the microwave. Not really long, like 15 seconds, just so they're warm. And then you're going to take the little container, okay, so I have 8 ounces total. I have 2 ounces in my little jar. And you want to add your fragrance to the little jar, but for the whole batch, okay, by your manufacturer's recommendations. But put all the fragrance oil in the small jar, okay? this is the key. It's like making homemade lemon meringue pie or homemade chocolate pie where you add the egg whites. You know, you add a little bit of the hot stuff to the egg whites so you don't end up with eggs, you know, scrambled eggs in your... Have you ever done that? Okay, so I'm mixing the whole thing. And this is a fragrance that I know gels up, okay? If I dumped it in the whole thing, it would gel up. So what I'm doing is adding maybe another fourth. It doesn't matter. Just add some more to it and mix it up really well. Add some more to it, mix it up really well. Okay? This is the key. It's incorporating it in instead of shocking the fragrance oil into, you know, solidifying. I don't know if that's what happens, but it seems to. And sometimes, like, I was impressed. This one, like I said, I know this one thickens up. And it will stay thick for, you know, it's one of those that you're like, well, crap, I can't sell this for how long? I have noticed if you put them away in a cabinet, like under the sink or on a shelf, on a windowsill, watch your colorants though. The colorants I use tend to not like the sunlight and they kind of fade a bit. But on a windowsill, if it's uncolored, it will let go. Even if it takes it, you know, a week, it will let go. It's like the molecules need to reform. They need to rearrange, like the cream soap video. They need to do their thing and get together with their buddies and whatever. Okay? So then, like I said, you dump all of it back into the big container and mix it up really, really well. You know, get everything incorporated as best as you can. And we're going to leave it sit. Oops, no we're not. We're going to color it. Micas don't really work very well because they will settle to the bottom. I use liquid colorant for soaps, specifically for soap. Now, this is what I consider to be a base, a soap base for my foaming soaps. Okay, foaming hand soap. You could stick this in a container with a pump and pump it out and use it as hand soap. Yes, I like to make foaming soap. It goes farther. This 8-ounce batch will make 32 ounces of foaming soap. So I sell this. This would be sold as a refill, okay? Just so you know that this is just the once diluted. And this is just about an hour or so later. Look at that beautiful, clear color. And the longer I leave it set, the clearer it actually gets. I don't even have to spray it with isopropyl alcohol to get those bubbles out of the way. I'm sure you got lots of questions. Leave them in the comments below. Also, what would you do with $1 million? I hope you had a good time. Thank you for stopping by. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.